crying every so often.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 2025 season's inaugural Empire State of Mind podcast. I have a brand new, I can't say co-host because he's going to be one of many, but I have a brand new, well, I guess he is my co-host. I'm trying to think of how to say it.
Thanks.
Dre from Dre Area Sports. You know us. We do the Cover 3 podcast on Friday with me, him, and Sterling Bennett. So why not double dip with someone I know and someone I know who loves talking 49ers football. And we're going to take a look at some of the biggest news pieces that are going on right now as we get closer to Sunday. We'll touch on Sunday a little bit, but we had some things happen this week. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about by the thumbnail when it regards to the 49ers and getting a very important piece of their offense back. So before we start anything, though, I just want to say what's up to Dre, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Kind of had a nice, relaxing morning for the most part. I'm on vacation this week, so. And if you're asking me, did I take vacation because the Niners start football this week? You're damn right. Okay, so we're going hard on streams this week. I got a show. I'm going to be doing one tomorrow. It's going to be a Niners versus Seahawks simulation broadcast. We're going to watch a Madden simulation to see how the Niners do. Then we got Friday with Cover 3, and we have post-game live that I'm going to be doing on Sunday with my buddy Drew Forder. It's going to be fun, man. I'm looking forward to week 1 of the NFL.
And you'll be back with me next Monday, too.
And next Monday, the following day, I'll be right back with you again. So it's going to be an action-packed week, and the schedule's really forming out, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited for Mondays with you, Fridays with you and Sterling, and then in the middle is Wednesday while I'll be doing my own show and having some more fun there, talking about the Niners and keeping everyone informed and just getting ready for each week, dude. Each week, I'm pumped.
Right. For me, I think I kind of found the happy place of doing 2 streams. I think I did 3 or 4. I might do an occasional, like if I get on with someone like, Raj from RSF Niners, but like 2's been, I felt like 3 was too much. 2's kind of perfect. There are other members of the Empire State of Mind podcast that will join us down the road. Right now, it happened to work for Dre today. But as far as next week and the weeks following, Monday's going to be the time.
We wanted to give everybody a nice Labor Day, not interfere with your Labor Day antics. So here we are. Now we're back and we're ready to rock.
So let's talk about it. Jauan Jennings, the Niners. It's funny how this worked out. I think you might have mentioned it in the DM chat about how as soon as they bring in Kendrick Bourne, all of a sudden Jauan Jennings becomes interested in returning, and his calf is somehow automatically healed. Previously, like just days before, we did a stream.
Isn't that something?
We did the Cover 3 stream. Yeah. We ended up breaking the Micah Parsons news while on the stream, but we were talking about Jauan Jennings and what could it mean, blah, blah, blah. We talked it to death. And now, little over a week later, or a little under a week later, he's back. And Kendrick Bourne leaves without a deal. And now all of a sudden the 49ers look way more formidable with Jauan Jennings back in the lineup.
Oh, absolutely. And having him back is huge for San Francisco. I mean, he's arguably their number 1 receiver. Now that you have him and Pearsall back, it really solidifies your receiving core, especially without guys like Demarcus Robinson and, of course, Brandon Ayuk. But it's funny how all of a sudden he came back on Monday. And to me, I think it was a lot of things. And I talked about this on a video I did about Jennings coming back to practice, is that I think in the end of the day, I think he always intended on coming back on this past Monday, the week leading up to the game. I think that may have been kind of a goal. Okay, if I don't get a contract by then, I'm just going to come back. Because I mean, what choice would he have? But at the same time, they brought in Kendrick Bourne. They definitely dialed up the pressure, kind of like what Tim Kawakami was saying. I think they were trying to make it a harder decision for him not to show up. So I think at that point he had to. Because look, let's say he doesn't show up. They put him on IR and they signed Kendrick Bourne. You know what I mean? It's a whole different story. But no, he came back, and I think because he came back, we know now that they made a formal offer to Kendrick Bourne. It's probably a small offer because look, I mean, if you bring him on, you got guys like MVS on the team. Obviously Jennings is back. You have Pearsall. Eventually, you're gonna have Demarcus Robinson and IU coming back, so his role would get diminished as the weeks go on. So I think that his offer is probably a very small offer, a very low ball offer. And I agree with the 49er throwback. He's just a backup at this point. I don't think, even if they brought him on, I don't think he would be that Jauan Jennings type receiver. Now, granted, when we had him back in Jimmy Garoppolo days, he was a huge red zone threat. I mean, he was always hitting him in the end zone for touchdowns. So, I think he definitely was more of a plug and play character that they can, acquire. But now that Jennings is back, you don't really need Kendrick Bourne anymore.
I was pleasantly surprised to see that he was back, and I thought it was interesting how he was slapping up everybody. Oh, I'm glad to be back. Woohoo! Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, John.
What's up, guys? Yeah.
And once those games checks start coming in, and you're not getting a new deal, it's amazing what money or lack thereof, or money leaving your wallet, will suddenly motivate you and suddenly recover your angry calf that's been bothering you.
Well, and I think that if he didn't show up, he'd start getting fines. And so I think at that point, they were like, hey, look, dude, we don't want you to incur any fines. We're not going to sign you to a huge contract. And here's the other thing, too, is that was his injury legitimate? I think at one point it was, but for the past few weeks, I don't think it has been an issue at all. I think they've been trying to save face by saying, oh, it's his calf. On both sides, they're trying to save face while they're trying to work this out. But this is more of a hold in, and I have full confidence that this injury was nothing. It was a big nothing burger for a long time.
Yeah, it's we're happy to have him back.
Absolutely.
There were some other things that happened that I didn't directly put down as topics, but MVS being activated to the official roster. They released Russell Gage, right, and then brought him back.
Yeah, they brought him back.
Planning, to be on the practice squad. Interesting. I mean, he's been a veteran wide receiver in the NFL for years. He played for a numerous amount of teams. So, Niners suddenly have sneaky amount of depth at wide receiver right now. I mean, as long as nobody gets hurt, you got Pearsall. Mm-hmm. You have Jauan Jennings, of course, and then if you have someone like NVS there, and then Demarcus Robinson when he comes back, and then maybe Watkins down the line. All of a sudden, the Niners go from a position of weakness to a position of strength. So,
I mean, just getting Jennings back completely revitalized that entire wide receiver room. I mean, now you have two legitimate receivers in Pearsall and Jennings. And then the question now is, who becomes your number three receiver? Is it MVS? Is it Sky Moore? Is it Russell Gage? I tend to think that it's going to be probably MVS. And I know that they released Gage, but then they signed him to the practice squad just so they can promote him the day of the game, because teams were likely going to poach Marquez Valdez-Scantling off of their practice squad. And so they say, hey, look, let's just switch it up. Let's put you in the practice squad because no one's going to grab you. And they're going to grab him because he played for the Chiefs, played for a few different teams now. So that was a smart move. I like what they did there.
Me too. I thought it was interesting. There was some injury returns, or at least guys returning back to practice. Dominic Pooney being one of them. Yetur Gross-Matos being one of them. So like those two returns to me, I think are huge. The injury to Pooney was really scary in the preseason. I think we all were like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Well, Sterling was
And
like, his season's over. The whole thing is done. In our group chat, I was like, hold on, dude. And then they
wait a
showed him
minute.
like walking off the field jogging. I was like, okay, if he's jogging off the field, there's no way that he tore an ACL. Otherwise, he'd be like hobbling around or he needed help. But no, I'm glad to know that he's safe and sound and he'll be back for week 1.
Yeah, it was nice to get some of these guys. Mykal Williams was returned. He was on the practice field. We're going to talk about the depth chart in a little bit, but it's interesting looking at the depth chart right now. Some positions, and I know it was mentioned in the chat by 49 Throwback about Jair Brown. That is one position that I want to ask you about in a little bit. If you were surprised, and when we get to the rosters, just surprised on some of this, because it's just week 1, and you know that this is probably like base defense, like when you look at the defensive starters. So, man, it's interesting right now, just looking at the depth chart. But like, I guess we all talked about it. I was a panic aster and I still am when it comes to injuries. But like so many of the injuries we experienced in the preseason were very short term. So with everybody coming back at the beginning of week 1, let's hope that these things that they dealt with in the preseason don't rear their ugly heads. And then maybe it was just, young guys trying to learn training camp and practice and in the NFL. And then maybe because you noticed a lot of the big names didn't get hurt this year in practice. Warner didn't get hurt. Bosa didn't get hurt. Trent Williams, McCaffrey, Kittle. I think
But everybody else who got hurt, they were like,
everybody else got hurt.
The sky is falling.
It is right. And I was one of those people that said the sky was falling because, like, geez Louise, dude, like you have 25 players out in the preseason on injury. I don't know, Dre. That's kind of a big deal. Yes, they're short term, and yes, they're probably precautionary. But 25 players being injured in the preseason, that's not a small thing.
No, it's not a small thing, and I think they handled it as best as they could. And look, I love what they did at the on cut day. They could have easily have said, okay, we're going to go with Russell Gage, Robbie Chosen, and what's his name, Hodgins, and we'll have them. They'll have them on the team because they've been here all off season. And we'll work with these guys and then wait for the other guys to come back. No, they didn't do that. They were like, no, they were like, F that. They put Chosen on the practice squad. I don't even know what happened to Hodgins. He might be on the practice squad. He might got cut. And basically they were like, you know what? We're not going to settle for what we have. We're going to go out and get more talent. And what they do, they made a trade to get Sky Moore in, and now you have a better return guy because the Junior Bergen experiment failed. You went out and you got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who you poached him off the Seahawks. So they went out and got guys that were experienced, guys who have been there, guys who have, sadly enough, won Super Bowls against your own team. So these are guys with experience, and I like what they did. And these guys aren't old. They're old veterans who are like 35 or 33. They're just still young guys. But they've been there before. So, hey, maybe that experience will rub off when it gets to the playoffs, which I do believe the Niners will easily make the playoffs. But I love the mentality that they took. Like, hey, we have a standard that we have to keep. We're not going to settle for what we got. Like, are these guys bad? No, they're not bad, but we could do better. So let's go out and do better. And I love that mentality.
It's weird. Like, we talked about lack of depth on the 49ers, like, all offseason and how they are so thin. And it's weird. Like, their wide receiving room quietly, if they get Ayuk back, or if and when they get Ayuk back, and then a return of Demarcus Robinson and Jordan Watkins, all of a sudden, like I said, Dre, it's a position of strength. Linebacking core, position of strength. Whereas, offensive line and defensive line are kind of iffy. Those are the two. Those were two areas that I thought the Niners were really thin. Secondary, too. I was surprised about the Flowers not making the team.
Yeah.
That was starting to look like a position of strength. I still think they have a pretty solid group of guys in the secondary, but man, MVS playing a role-playing role is a great player to have, and like you said, Sky Moore, a legitimate return threat. Um, Interesting. I'm okay with that. Like I'm okay with you sneakily have a decently deep wide receiving room.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm okay.
let's talk about the secondary really quick. I mean, yeah, they are a little short. I think they're very shallow in that secondary. I mean, obviously, look, you got Upton Stout, who we haven't seen a lot of, but we know that he's turning heads in practice and that he's got a ton of talent. So I'm excited about that. But outside of that, you have Renardo Green and Diamador Lenore. If one of those two goes down with injury, who do you have to back them up? I mean, essentially, they're going to go with like a Darrell Luter to back them up. They got rid of Flowers. They got rid of what was the other guy? Brown, I think his name was the
Trey
guy from
Brown.
Trey Brown. They got rid of those guys. So I think they are a bit shallow when it comes to their corners, because if one of those two goes out for an extended period of time, then we're going to be seeing a lot of guys like Darrell Luter out there trying to make plays. And on top of that, when you look at the safety position, I mean, you got Jason Pinnock, who's they keep saying is going to be the starter, even though we never saw him play in the preseason. And you also got Marquis Siegel, who looks extremely good. A guy I thought was a bad pick, but it turns out this guy's been really, really good. We know Mustafa's still on the PUP list. You got Jair Brown. There you go. So, I mean, and then you got, Siren Neal, who's, I mean, how much of a safety really is he? I don't know.
Yeah, I was surprised about that. So, like, let's see if I can. Doesn't really let me zoom it too much more, but
no, that's fine right there. But so still,
let's look at the secondary real quick. Sorry about that. So you have, like you said, cornerback. So left cornerback, yeah, Renardo Green, Chase Lucas. He's the backup. Right cornerback, you have Diamador Lenore, and you're right, Darrell Luter. Jeez.
I mean, Chase Lucas, I mean, the guy's a dog. I love what he does. I mean, he basically earned his way onto the team.
Right.
So we'll see. But we'll see how he does in the regular season. You can do a lot in preseason, but when it comes to the regular season, it's a whole different animal.
I want to take a look at the defensive line real quick. So any surprises on the starting defensive line? You got Michael Williams starting at left end, Bosa, of course, right end. But your starting defensive tackles are Kalia Davis and Jordan Elliott. Alfred Collins and CJ West are both backups.
I thought that was weird. I mean, look, this is the unofficial, what do you call it, depth chart, because this was made by the PR team.
Okay.
So they're just like plugging names in, I think. And you figure Jordan Elliott and Kalia Davis are veterans, obviously, compared to Collins and West. Even if they start, I still think that CJ West becomes your primary defensive tackle. Alfred Collins still has to develop, but I think he's still going to be out there a lot. But I think they're a little on the fence when it comes to Alfred Collins, because he's still really raw. I mean, there's still a lot of things. What's up, Papa J? There's still a lot of things that he has to improve on. And so it doesn't shock me. Plus, the return of Yatir Gross-Matos, that's huge. And you got Jordan Jefferson and Sam O. You have plenty of guys that you can plug in there to help stop that run. We didn't have Jordan Jefferson last year. He replaces Evan Anderson, which I was surprised. Gross-Matos is in there as well. So those guys can all help out on the interior, and, of course, Gross-Matos on the edge. But Bryce Huff and Michael Williams, I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of formations where Michael slides to the inside and Bryce Huff is lined up on the outside opposite Nick Bosa. And that's really going to create a lot of problems for a lot of these offenses. So I think, if Green and Lenore can stay healthy and can play up to their expectation, I think that it's going to make it really hard for teams to really throw the ball, which is going to help the defensive line get to the quarterback and get more pressure on the quarterback.
It's funny, Siran Neal on Madden is considered a cornerback and not a safety, but on here they have him as a safety. So, which I thought was interesting. So you got Michael Williams, and it's funny you said like kick him inside on third down, put in Bryce Huff on the outside. Robert Beal was a surprise making the roster this year. hadn't seen much of him previous years. So
No, I agree. But he played well in preseason. And
did
look,
play
this
well
is
in
a
the
guy
preseason.
that they invested draft capital in. He's been with the team now for what, 3 years?
Mhm.
I think they saw, and if you watch the film, he's shown a lot of improvement this season compared to last season. So I think this could be a guy that can be more productive for the team. But he might be an inactive. Who knows? Because at this point, you can only carry so many defensive tackles on the active roster for game day. So Robert Beal could be inactive. There was talk, even I think Lombardi was talking about it, that Alfred Collins could be an inactive because of his, he missed a lot of time, and so they could look to inactivate him and have a guy like Jordan Jefferson play or Robert Beal play.
And then
it just
all of a sudden
depends.
you have down the road, down in the and towards in the middle of the season, when guys get tired, of a sudden you got a fresh body.
Yeah.
To bring in. What did you think about Luke Gifford being the Sam linebacker?
I don't think that's right. I don't think Luke Gifford really sees the field. I mean, I think Al Gifford would probably do a better job than Luke Gifford.
He his long lost brother, who's like
long lost like nephew,
45
maybe?
years younger than him. Yeah, Luke
Yeah,
Gifford.
but again, I think they plugged him in there because they were like, "Whoa, we know that Bethune and Martin are backups to these two, so I think you're going to see a lot of Tatum Bethune and what's his face, Martin, Nick Martin out there.
Nick Martin.
And Nick Martin and Bethune have shown way more promise than Luke Gifford. So I think, again, this is the PR team just plugging in where they know players are fit in.
It said compiled by the 49ers communication staff.
Yeah, well, what does that mean? Who's that guy?
As of September 2nd. Who the heck is the 49ers football communication staff? Is that another word for like college intern?
Well, I want to be like, do you follow the team? Because I wouldn't have done that. I would have been like, okay.
Are you like Chase Sr.? Are you really an Eagles fan posing as a 49ers content creator? Like, what are you doing?
I know. He's completely an Eagles fan. But then again, he covers the Niners for Chat Sports, so I get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if someone told me, like, hey,
so weird.
I'm going to pay you money to cover the Minnesota Vikings, then I would do it. And I'd still be a Niner fan. So, I mean, I get it, though. It is annoying because I hate the Eagles. But no, I don't think Luke Gifford gets out there. I think if you're going to go with a 3 linebacker look, it's going to be Warner, Winters, and Bethune. In some formations, you'll see, Warner, Winters, and Martin. I think they're going to be rotating Martin and Bethune out in many different formations. But at the same time, I think that Nick Martin is going to be able to really showcase his skills in special teams. The guy's fast. The guy gets to the returner.
He improved, Dre, through the preseason.
Oh, yeah. That first game, I think he was just freaking out.
Yeah.
And then after that, he was like, oh, I got to calm down.
Game. And because I'm a negative person, a negative fan, call me a hater, whatever you want. It's all
hater.
Good. And I was like, man, what an overdraft! Like, this guy sucks. The famous Rock. This guy sucks. But turns out he was rusty. He hadn't played in a year. He was overrunning. He was missing tackles. But the upward climb of how he played in each game was nothing more than it was spectacular. So great for him. Hey, real quick, if you're on X, we appreciate you. Jump on over to YouTube. Come to 49ers First Takes and Dre Area Sports YouTube channel. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We would love to have you here on YouTube as well. But thanks for supporting the stream anyways, outright, wherever you are watching. Thank you. I wanted to look at the offense a little bit. Take a look at the offense here. Starting wide receiver Jauan Jennings, left tackle Trent Williams, left guard Ben Barch, center Jake Brendel, right guard Dominic Pooney. Glad to see he's going to be back. Right tackle Colton McKivitz, tight end George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, and Christian McCaffrey. We've known this is probably going to be the starting offense since since probably March or April, based on just how, Deebo Samuel leaving the team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anything out of sorts with you with the starting lineup on offense before we get into the depth?
Well, I mean, I think starters. I don't know if Ben Barch will be your starter. I think they want him to be the starter, but the guy can't stay healthy. I think Connor Colby eventually does take over for him because
Okay.
he's never proven that he can stay healthy for an entire season. But what gets me is that like look how many offensive linemen they're carrying. You got a backup for each position. It's kind of like, whoa, that's a lot. To me, that's a lot. I think you got to go with Burford or Pleasance. I think Austin Pleasance shouldn't even be on the team because I would rather see them, drop one of these guys and pick up a safety. What's his name? Jabril Peppers got cut by the Patriots. I would love to add that guy to the secondary as a safety because I think that would help the team immensely with their depth. Because, I mean, look, we're not going to have Mustafa at the beginning of the year. And so I think you need to have a playmaker out there. And look, Jair Brown is Jair Brown. How is he going to play? We'll find out when we get there. But I think adding a safety would be a good thing for the Niners, and dropping one of these offensive linemen should probably happen. I mean, you have Pleasance, you have Moss, you have Hennessy, you have Colby, and you have Burford. I mean, look, you could probably drop some of these guys. Let's say you get rid of Austin Pleasance and like a Matt Hennessy. Right? And then that's two more positions that you can use to bring on more guys.
Right.
Or let's say, like even Jake Tonges, let's say you cut him or you waive him. And then you can add somebody else, another safety. Because I think safety and the secondary is where they need to add more depth.
Yep. Agreed. They're going to have a good problem, Dre, once Jordan Watkins is healthy and Demarcus Robinson return. They're going to have a really good problem. If they can stay healthy to the first couple weeks, man, and they start getting guys back, like I have to keep reiterating, even though we've jumped from offense to defense and then back again. Man, all of a sudden, like offensively, you have a really deep team. Defensively, like you said, why they cut Flowers at cornerback makes no sense to me. I don't even know if he's been picked up by another team. I would love to see him come back.
I don't know, but I think they did because they want to go with Luter. I mean, they drafted this guy. Again, they developed this guy. He's on a rookie contract. He's cheaper. I think that's why they made that move. They said, you know what? We like what Flowers has done, but we're not ready to give up on Darrell Luter. And Darrell Luter played really good, especially in that last preseason game. He showed a lot of promise and a lot of skill, and so I think that really sold them. And they said, okay, let's go with that. Let's go with Darrell Luter.
Lacey Media says, I'm with Papa J on Chase Sr. I want a diehard Niners fan. Yeah, if you're going to cover the team, I mean, we've got a couple of those guys in the Niners media. I mean, listen.
Lacey Media, I'll do it.
You guys know I'm not a Grant Cohn fan because Grant is not a 49ers fan. He's a content creator who is outlandish, and it sells. He makes a lot of money off of it. We all know what it's like to be, people are grifters or,
Grant plays a character.
Yeah,
when he's on, he plays a character. I mean, for instance, I know he does a stream every week with Larry, and they had this,
which is crazy because Larry is a legit Niners fan, and he's the best.
Well, they're friends. But the one of the questions is who is the most overrated 49er currently? And he said it was Nick Bosa, which I was like, but of course he would say that because that's right down his alley. If you would have asked him who's the most overrated coach in the NFL, he would say Kyle Shanahan. You know what I mean? He's always going to go for or who's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL? He'd probably say Brock Purdy. You know what I mean? Because he knows the fans will get lit up. So when he said it, I was like, of course you're going to say that.
You have to, that's why blocking and muting people is a beautiful thing on social media, is if you want to follow certain people that cover the Niners. I think a lot of people think that because you cover a team, you have to kiss their ass. If you guys have known me, you know I am a freaking super harsh-ass critical 49ers fan, and I am always quick to be negative about the team.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if somebody's covering the team and they want to be, you're in the media room and you play like you're a reporter, but when you're on social media or YouTube, you play the grifter or the misery merchant. It's just like, I'd rather have I'm like, for instance, I really think, even though he plays kind of like an overly serious person, Lombardi covers the Niners. He is a Niners content creator. He's a Niners YouTuber, and he does work for the 49ers. So, like, I don't know. That's just my own personal preference when it comes to, like, people I like to follow. but hey, to each his own, right?
Exactly.
So I'm looking here. It says Russell Gage. This must have been before they made the move.
Yeah.
Because Russell Gage was caught. Again, this is made by the 49ers football communication staff. We don't know who they are.
This came out before that transaction, so that's why it shows him there. But he's going to be on the team. He's going to be there on week 1. One thing that I'm really excited for when you look at this this depth chart is that I love the fact that we have Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson Jr. as our running backs. Again, if you look at the depth chart, if it said CMC, Guerrero, and then Jordan James, that's really shallow.
Yeah.
Look, we know that Guerrero has a ton of talent. We know that he's super fast. He's super fast. And he's a big guy. He's a good receiver. But is he really your running back number 2? I don't think so. What's up, David McNiner? I think having Brian Robinson and McCaffrey is such a better tandem. And I would argue, and people are going to push back on me for this, I know it, but I would argue that this could be the best running back duo next to Gibbs and Montgomery over in Detroit. I think these two they're two experienced, young running backs that are both good out of the backfield, and they're both good as a receiver as well.
I think the Niners have the better of the backfields. I think the Niners just with those two.
Robinson was the primary running back in Washington, and now you have him on your team. Now, the question is, and this is what a lot of the other pundits will say is not going to happen, but the question is, will Kyle Shanahan really utilize the 2 running back system? Or is he just going to be McCaffrey, third and goal, bring in Robinson? You know, we got to see how he utilizes both running backs, because in the past, it's been all Christian McCaffrey. Unless he's injured. This might be a little different now because McCaffrey had those injuries. He might be like, okay, hey, look, let's use him a little more sparingly and give Robinson more carries so that these two stay fresh throughout the entire game and the season as well. Because I think when you look at what they did, you know, having Jordan Mason, yeah, he worked on his receiving skills, but they never threw him the ball. Even when he was wide open as a check down, Brock never threw him the ball.
Kyle plays scared in a lot of times. I think he coaches scared. You know, they talk about having a deep backfield. They talk about having alternating running backs. But him and Bobby Turner are both from the school of, well, if a guy's working and it's working, then we're gonna ride that horse until you can't ride him anymore. And we've all seen with his daddy, with what he did at Terrell Davis, and Kyle with a lot of his running backs. Kyle sets out to do something, and then once the game happens, becomes I don't know if it's like a mental block or a form of like anxiety that sets in, but he ends up going against everything that they are trying to set out to do. So it'll be interesting to see if Kyle can break from standard form, which is ride Christian McCaffrey until he blows out his Achilles, and actually have a legitimate 1-2 punch, which means maybe 15 carries for CMC and 8 attempts, 8 receptions or eight targets, and have a legitimate number 2 come in and split that.
Yeah,
because it works in theory, and we get excited about it. And when you play Madden, it's like, whoa, I got a number 1 back as my backup. But like in real life, it doesn't always seem to come to fruition, at least with Kyle and with Bobby Turner.
Yeah, absolutely, and I totally agree with David McNiner. 3rd and goal, bringing Robinson and swing CMC to the slot. I think they're going to do a lot of that, and I also think that based on David's comment, which I absolutely love, I think that you're going to see a lot of Guerrero out as a receiver or out of the backfield as a receiver. So I think the days of not seeing. Let's put it this way. I think they should do a lot more of a 2 running back set and have one of them flank out as a receiver, or both of them go out as receivers. I mean, if you have Robinson and McCaffrey back there, both of them are very good receivers out of the backfield. They're both ranked very high according to PFF. And not only that, but you still have Kyle Juszczyk, who, again, is a very good receiver. We saw him We saw Juice make some clutch catches in the playoffs, tippy-toe catches, and in the Super Bowl as well. So I think receiving-wise, these running backs are going to be really, really versatile in what they can bring to the offense this season.
Anything else on the depth chart that you want to talk about? I wanted to
Mac Jones. No, I'm just kidding. he deserves to be there.
I wanted to jump ahead to something. I don't have the statistic in front of me, but the fact that the 49ers, the attendance for the game in Seattle is looking more like a 49ers 50-50 split. There is going to be a lot of red in that stadium, which 10 years ago, 12 years ago, during the Legion of Boom era, you kidding me? Like, that would have never happened.
What's a different era
on that? What's your take on the 49ers being able to be, they're probably one of the most well-traveled fan bases in the National Football League. Do you agree?
I think that this is more of a testament to Seattle. I think that obviously, yes, the Niners are a very good traveling team. You got guys like John Chapman out there, leading the charge on these.
John Chapman is a legitimate cheerleading squad. Yeah,
diehard. Him and Eric, who's a social media manager, a good friend of mine, they lead the charge out there wherever they go on their road trips.
Yep.
But you got that going on, right? But at the same time, I think when you look at Seattle, I mean, you got rid of Geno Smith, who, I'm sorry, that's not exciting whatsoever. And you brought in Sam Darnold. Again, that's like another Band-Aid. You're like, okay, so...
That's a lateral move, in my opinion.
Well, you're like, okay, you brought in Sam Darnold. Why? Because he had a good season last season when he had a legit receiver in Justin Jefferson and a legit defense and a much better team. I just think that, look, right now the state of Seattle is we're not going to be winning. We're not going anywhere, but we love Seattle football. The team isn't showing anything that, like, oh, hey, we got this quarterback that's a stud. I can't wait to see how we build around him. That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Their quarterback, what's his name? Joe Milton? No, it's not him. But their backup quarterback, the guy they drafted, he's not even that exciting. They're like, oh, he could be the next Lamar Jackson. Well, that's a lot to say. It's good. People say, Brock Purdy, he reminds you of Drew Brees. I don't see that because Drew Brees had a rocket arm.
It's like any bald actor. He'd be a good Lex Luthor.
Yeah, exactly.
Or any guy with a beard and sideburns. Oh, he's the next Wolverine. That's like, come on, people.
Or like any young black actor, he could be the next Jon Stewart. He could be the next Cyborg. It's the same thing. And so I think when you look at this team, I mean, there's not a lot to be excited about. You got rid of DK Metcalf. You brought in Cooper Kupp, but that's like, I don't know. Cooper Kupp's cool, but he's really old, and he gets hurt a lot, and he's past his prime.
Well, DK would have been like a Ford truck, like a 4x4, right? And you're bringing in a really old Pinto, like a smaller, more road-weary version of the thing that you just had.
You're bringing in like a Pontiac Firebird that was like really good when you bought it, but you haven't really taken good care of it. It's got a lot of issues. Yeah. And the paint's kind of faded. But hey, if you give me a shot, this thing will go 0 to 100 real fast.
Your seats smell like spilled beer and cigarettes.
He's been around the block, but here's the thing: if you had DK Metcalf and Cooper Kupp, that's a little different. Then you're like, hey, that's pretty cool. I mean, I like Smith and Jigba. I think he's a good receiver, but these aren't guys that draw people in. They're not. Cooper Kupp is not a guy where Seattle fans are like, oh, I can't. I got to buy tickets now. I want to see Cooper Kupp. No, you don't. Kenneth Walker's your running back. He's good. Does he draw in attendance? No, he doesn't. Nobody does.
With that being said, there are a lot of people that are picking Seattle to win that game.
They're not going to win.
I don't think they're going to win either. If the Niners
Niners will win this game. But at the end of the show, let's do our prediction for the final score of this game. And, of course, we'll probably do it again on Friday.
I was going to say, okay, we can do that. One thing I wanted to bring up, I'm going to bring it on screen. I thought there was a clip to it, but I'll bring this on screen. The Jake Moody situation. I've told you I don't believe in him. A lot of people I know Sterling says that I could be kind of rough on him. And, I'm like, not necessarily being a bully, but I think the guy has like a very spineless approach when it comes to kicking. He looks like he doesn't want to be out there. But Joe Shasky put this up during the radio broadcast yesterday, and it says
Loved
that
it.
if and when, because I said the same thing, if and when Jake Moody costs them a game, it's on Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. I'm not even going to be mad at Jake Moody. It's on them for setting themselves up for and relying on this individual. And when that individual, he means Jake Moody. You can't as a Niners fan, and I don't care how faithful you are. And I know we were just talking about people who cover the Niners that aren't part of the faithful. I'm talking about normal fans, normal YouTubers that love the team. You can't tell me in your heart of hearts that you believe in Jake Moody, that he's going to win you games and he's going to show up in crunch time. And if you do, you're freaking lying to yourself.
They better hope that, especially early on in the season, that they're just blowing teams out. Because if you're in a nail biter and you got to rely on this guy to keep you in the game, he has not proven that he is consistent enough to hit the field goals on a consistent basis. He has not proven that whatsoever. Yes, he made all of his kicks in the Super Bowl. The extra point was blocked. He didn't miss that. It got blocked.
Right.
So he came up clutch in the Super Bowl. But he hasn't proven that he can do that consistently in the regular season. So I fully agree with what Shasky's saying here. I love this tweet because at the end of the day, it's like, if this guy costs the Niners multiple games, that is clearly on Lynch and Shanahan because they had other options. They had Greg Joseph. They could have found somebody else. And on top of that, dude, last season, there was no need to bring him back when they did. I thought that Anders Carlson was doing fine. The other guy, Matthew Wright, he was doing fine until he knocked himself out. So it goes to show you that you can bring guys in and they'll kick and hit field goals for you. This guy, he's just not accurate. And I think that's the problem is that, yeah, he has a strong leg, but he's not accurate. Until he becomes consistently accurate, I'm going to be nervous every time he goes out in the field. I will not feel confident that he's going to hit any field goal when he goes out there.
Anybody in the comments, what do you think about the situation with Jake Moody? I don't believe in him. I haven't believed in him since last year. I've been called a bully because I think that he looks like someone who got his books dumped.
You're a monster.
I'm not being a bully. I'm just stating fact. If you think that he's the answer at kicker and that I'm just being a big, giant, fat, negative piece of crap, then that's one thing. But I just don't believe in him.
That was brutal, dude. You called yourself big and fat.
Well, look, that's not a reach though, because I am big and I am fat.
But here's the thing though, is that they had the opportunity to improve on this position, and they didn't do that. Now, why didn't they do that? Is it because they don't want to give up on their third round pick, or is it because they actually see the talent? And Brant Boyer probably said, "Hey, this guy's good." Or
I think said it as best. They're trying to justify their wages, their job by sticking with people who were drafted over people that they brought in free agency wise.
But even if you brought in a kicker to replace him, I mean, how much money are you really going to pay this guy? We're not talking about a $15 million a year kicker. You're talking about like $5 million, $6 million. To say, it's chump change compared to what these position players are getting.
How many kicks does he mix until they bring in a guy like Joseph, or even go the route of bringing in the ex-Ravens kicker?
To me, he's got him as 4.
4 kicks?
4 kicks.
I think he misses one game winner. He needs to be out the door.
Kicker
by Monday.
Okay. So if they're game winning kicks, I think he'll be afforded to miss 2 of them.
That's just too much.
I know, but knowing these guys, they'll be like, we're really trying to develop him. But the second time, they're like, okay, we have no choice. Get rid of him.
We're trying to develop on that. Didn't they say that about Nick McGill?
Yeah.
On the team 4 years. We're really trying to develop him and become a starting NFL player. It's like you've had him 4 years.
That's like, and then you start asking, "Where's Robbie Gould? Where is he?" But obviously he's not in shape or anything. But still, I think there's other kickers out there that you can bring in to replace this guy. They don't want to give up on their third round pick. I get it, but at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, "Hey, is it worth keeping him around, knowing that he might lose us more than one game?"
I think it was a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, did they look at Greg Joseph, as anything better, or was he a lateral move? Because I'm starting to think, just based on, well, the fact that they pretty much had the same amount of kicks made and missed. Like, but see, that's the thing. He makes them in practice most of the time. It's when he gets into the game that he kicks kickoffs out of bounds, and he misses extra points. And then it's the body language. It's the body language that bothers me so much. Where people say I bully him, like I'm a bully. He looks like a little kid who plays Pop Warner football, and Daddy isn't at the game, so nobody's screaming from the stands for him. And he makes a mistake, and he looks for Daddy in the stands, and Daddy's not there, so he looks sad. That's what he looks like, and like that. I'm sorry, he doesn't look like a professional NFL kicker, like someone who's like, F this, I missed a kick, but I'm gonna get it in the end. Has some testicular fortitude. I don't see any of that from him. He looks like he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, he looks really nervous all the time, and hold on. There we go. He doesn't look confident. He doesn't look ready. He looks like when he lines up, he's like, holy shit, where is this going to go? I can tell you how far it's going to go, but what direction is it going to go in? And so that's why it's tough, dude. I mean, the guy hit, a 60, or how big was that kick against
59.
A 59-yarder?
And they were trying to prop him up like he accomplished something. It's like
And then you have pundits out there like Grant who says, "Oh, they're keeping him around so that he's their scapegoat." No, I'm sorry, but if you're trying to win, you don't keep a guy around for scapegoating. No, they don't want to give up on their 3rd-round draft pick, but it's like, dude, this is fucking year 3. You only got one more year with this guy. So if he doesn't come through in this season, you got to cut him and replace him with somebody else. Because look,
you can't even wait a whole season with him.
When Matthew Wright came in and when Andrews Carlson came in, they didn't miss kicks. They were fine. And then you went back to Moody, which I was like, dude, if he's not 100%, why are we going back to him? He should have been on the bench for most of the season until the very last couple weeks, until they knew, okay, we are out of the playoffs. How are you feeling? We'll bring you back.
You watched the press conference last week when people asked about him, and John spoke, because John, he does that. He's the CEO. He's the guy, the pep rally guy. He's all about company talk, company speak. And Kyle's doesn't say 2 words during that whole diatribe about we have faith in Nick. How can you have faith in him?
Yeah, like what game were you watching?
Why are you saving face? I don't understand the whole logic behind protecting this guy, coddling this guy. Like Kittle's on the sideline and he's telling him he believes in him. He's a grown man, dude. Are you serious?
I mean, dude, if you have to work hard to pump up this guy's confidence, then you got the wrong guy. I'm sorry.
You got the wrong guy.
If this was a college team, I get it. If this was the UFL, I get it. But you're in the fucking NFL. If you have to continuously pump this guy full of confidence, then you got the wrong guy. I'm sorry.
Lacey Media says my head hurts and my hands clench every time he lines up. I'm like, Purdy, just go for it, dude. My butthole puckers every time he goes to kick. Okay, it tightens to. I can make diamonds out of the amount of stress. I go through.
There's so many kicks. Even that 59-yarder, when he lined up to kick that, I was like, he's gonna miss.
He's going,
and then he made it. You know what I mean? There was nothing in me that was like, dude, he can hit this dude.
When he goes to do them, they always somewhat veer like they're going to miss. It's like even the ones he makes look like misses. It's I don't know what it is. They're like, oh, he changed his kick stance.
Yeah, I was like, oh god,
instead of 3.
Yeah. How much of a difference does that make? I don't know.
He reminds me of 2 characters from The Wizard of Oz. He doesn't have a brain and he doesn't have a heart. He's like an amalgamation of the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion. Like he's lacking a ticker and he's lacking, something up above his neck. But
yeah,
hey,
it's
it is what it is. Let's we talked about the we didn't really talk too much about the crowd. We already talked about the red out in Seattle, correct?
Yeah, we talked about the crowd. We talked about
Okay.
the 53%,
Yeah.
which is cool. I love it. I'd love for the Niner fans to take over Seattle, rub it in their
There's
face.
a
Well,
clip.
I sort of derailed it because I said basically the Seattle doesn't have anyone that's really that popular or interesting to draw fans in. I mean, who's their biggest defensive player? Like, who is their marquee? I think so. But other than that,
really good defensive tackle too. But
no, but they don't have a Nick Bosa. They don't have a Micah Parsons who has a back injury. They don't have that guy where it's like, oh,
you gotta love that.
you gotta love that.
Moody equals Drunken Miller. Oh, shut up! You know that's not true. Stop it.
Oh man,
Stop it. Oh wait, no, I thought you said Purdy. Moody equals Drunken Miller. No, that is accurate. Okay. Why did I think I saw Purdy? Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you.
You saw the DY and thought Purdy. Papa J wouldn't do that. Come on.
So, one of the things I wanted to ask you, one of the topics we had was, do you think the Niners are being overlooked? I want to play the clip. This is Joe Shasky talking about if the Niners are overrated or they're being overlooked. Excuse me, and see what he has to say here.
This team should be humming right now, and I think the number one thing is that you look at health going into the season. You can't predict week to week what's going to happen, but going into a year, it's about as close to optimal as you can find. And yeah, the Ayuk injury is just, I mean, that sucks. Who knows? It's a great unknown. But the rest of the team is as close to healthy as you can get going into week one.
I'm feeling so much more confident about this team as the days go on leading into week one.
Absolutely.
I really am. And I don't know what it is, because everyone that I keep like talking to nationally, whether it's, my brothers that live in other states or just, talking to friends that are just kind of casual fans, no one's really talking about the 49ers. You know what I keep saying? Good. Don't talk about us. Good. Sleep on us if I'm a Niner fan. That's what I want. For the longest time, the expectations for this team was Super Bowl or bust, or some hosts like to say here, Super Bowl or try again. No. I don't think that's how fans are looking at it this year. And you know what? There is something refreshing about that, but I'll say this. The Super Bowl is at Levi's Stadium this year. The Super Bowl is at Levi's Stadium, Joe. Santa Clara. We were just there a couple weeks ago for joint practices. Tampa Bay Buccaneers won it in their backyard in Tampa a few years ago. The Los Angeles Rams won it in their backyard at SoFi Stadium just a few years ago. Why can't that be the 49ers in February of 2026? Why can't it be the San Francisco 49ers? Is it health? Is it the question marks on defense? Is it Brock Purdy?
Yeah. It's been interesting the last couple, what do you probably say, 6 years or so, where it's been Niners or Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I still think there was that clip that Trent Williams said how it, their goal shouldn't be the Super Bowl. Their goal should be about, having a good season and getting themselves into the playoffs, which I kind of agree. You got to do one before the other. But I'm glad that people aren't taking them to win the West. I'm glad people are overlooking them to be a one and done in the playoffs if they make the playoffs. Do I have a lot of fears when it comes to their defense being an unknown and them not having a ton of depth, especially on the defensive side? Yeah. And the number one fear, Dre, above all is health. It's always health with this team. Their biggest opponent on years where they didn't do anything and they didn't make the playoffs has been because they've had an injury list longer than the Declaration of Independence. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's bad. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think they're definitely overlooking them because, look, this team, we've already talked about it ad nauseum. This team has the easiest schedule in the NFL. When you look at all the big teams that are out there, all the main players, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Packers, all these teams that everyone's like high on, the Lions, we don't play any of them. We played them last season, and we played some of them the year before that.
Yeah.
But this year, we don't play any of them. The hardest teams that we're going to play this season, arguably would be like the Houston Texans, the Rams, maybe Buccaneers.
I don't like how people kind of doubting the Rams.
Well, I'm just saying,
as long
you're
as they
not
have
playing,
Stafford and McVay, they're always going to be a competitive team.
but still, you still don't have teams like the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Commanders.
Well, how confident are you going to be about the 49ers, though, Dre, if they have a season where they make the playoffs and it's coming off of an easy schedule?
I don't care because that's gonna, regardless. You're going to say, oh, well, they only got here because they had an easy schedule. No, I think, look, they have an easier schedule this season because they sucked last season because of all the injuries. So I think this is your time to take advantage of that. And if there was any time to lean on a youth movement, it'd be now because they're going against an easier set of opponents compared to last season where the injuries decimated them and they were basically defenseless against these tougher teams. I mean, playing the Bills in Buffalo, snowing, and then McCaffrey goes down. That was it. Once he went down, I was like,
well, the
it's
season
over.
was over. The season was over in November, and you know that, and I know that.
The game that sunk the season, that completely put the nail in the coffin, was the game at Levi's against the Rams. The game where Debo was like, give me the ball, and he's dropping touchdowns, and that was an absolute mess. It started to rain, and we know Brock Purdy, he's like a freaking mogwai. You get him wet, and he can't do anything
what's
right.
Weird about him in the rain is people say it's hand size. Troy Aikman had a hard time gripping the ball and when it was wet, and he had his hands are like I've never seen. They're like baseball mitts. You know what I mean? So
and look, I fully agree with David McNiner on his latest comment. Yes, they hung around with the Lions, and guess what? The reason why they lost that game because the defense was horrible. They couldn't stop anybody, and I don't know how many games that we went through where the offense would show up and the defense couldn't stop anybody. I mean, you and I could have rushed for 100 yards against that defense. It was so horrible last season. And I think that they've made improvements onto this defense to help clean up a lot of those problems, especially when it comes to the run defense. Getting a guy like CJ West, Michael Williams, hell, even Alfred Collins, a big body guy, that's going to make a huge difference.
Someone just to eat up space against the run.
Well, and not only that, but those guys are going to help the other guys like Kalia Davis and Jordan Elliott. Jordan Elliott was a guy that came from Cleveland that was good against the run, but you also have to surround these guys with more talent. And he was surrounded by talent on that really good Browns defense. And so now if you do that, it's going to help.
I think it makes sense that they have CJ West and Alfred Collins as backups.
Yeah.
Because then they can work, then they get a chance to play and they play better, they take over. And then all of a sudden you have starting experience as a backup player. So I'm okay with that. Does it look really bad on the Rotten depth chart? Yeah, it looks horrible, but go ahead.
But I mean, and look at the guys they got rid of. Malik Collins. Was that guy going to sit around and be like, I'm going to be a backup over here? Probably not. And they probably knew that he may throw a fit. Who knows? I don't know the guy. And so that's why they got rid of him. They're paying him a whole bunch of money, and he didn't do much of anything last season. Leonard Floyd. Good guy, but that's not the guy we need. That guy, he's thin. He's thin. He's delicious. I need cheese. No, he's a long, lanky, skinny guy that can't really move players anymore. He relies on.
He doesn't have any girth.
No, and so I think they were like, okay, so like when you look at last season in a whole, it just seemed like, hey, let's bring as many of these guys back as we can. Let's patch up some of our spots with some free agents and let's run it back. And guess what happened? Everybody got hurt. It almost felt like when they went out on the field, they just assumed they were going to win. Like, we were in the Super Bowl last season. We'll win these games. And what they kept doing, they kept blowing it in the fourth quarter. And the defense was horrible. Sorensen was an absolute joke. He had no idea what he was doing. And getting him out of there and bringing in Robert Saleh to replace him is a gigantic upgrade.
That's the other thing that I think myself, I forget. Like the old Ryback. Stupid. Stupid. I forget about Saleh. I forget that they have Saleh this year. I don't know why my brain keeps overlooking it, but like his je ne sais quoi, his presence.
His presence, man.
I mean, he's just really good at being a defensive coordinator. Head coach, probably not.
But you got two head coaches on your team. You have a head coach in Robert Saleh who's coaching your defense, and you got a head coach in Kyle Shanahan who's coaching your offense.
Right.
So now you're going against two head coaches, one on offense, one on defense. And to me, that's an asset. That's huge.
It's a huge asset.
Not to mention Gus Bradley's still there too. So he's another guy who's in the background like, hey, do this. So they have a ton of experience in their coaching staff. Now it's a matter of can they put it all together in the field with these guys, and I think they will. I really do. I think Michael Williams is going to have a big season.
Trying to look at these for our next topic. I wanted to talk about the uniforms and just how don't understand the plan this year when it comes to the uniforms. See if I could bring it up here.
Isn't it like week 18?
Yeah, it's just really weird.
Why wouldn't you start the season with those?
All right, so where are we going here? I'm trying to get better with the sharing and stuff. I think I've improved exponentially. Share screen. Where are we going? We go back. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
So, because if I zoom any farther, then it cuts it off. So
that's fine.
They call it their kit schedule. So white throwbacks for the season opener at week 3 makes a lot of sense. But I find it weird how like teams in hotter climates can find a way to play in any uniform color. And the Niners are just so, I don't know if it's a California thing, but like the white throwbacks to be the home opener against the Arizona Cardinals. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they learned off of last season. They wanted to do that, but Arizona had their whites. So they were like, no, sorry, buddy. You didn't ask for that ahead of time. So they're like, let's just do this at the home opener because it's probably going to be hot on week 3. So let's put them all in white so that it'll at least help with the heat. And you remember last season against the hey Sterling, last season against the Cardinals, that was the hot game.
Yep.
Sorry, what are you looking for right now?
I'm going back to it. I lost it for a second.
I was like, what are we doing? That was the hot game. Again, they should have won, and they blew it in the fourth quarter. I watched that game. My brother, I was disgusted. Look at those good updates from my account. Guys, she really followed Dre Area Sports on
Dre Area
X.
Sports is a good follow.
I try and post as many Niner updates as I can. No, I'm not RSF Niners. I'm not Raj. I'm not at his capabilities, but I try my hardest.
Then you have white primaries. Week 1 against Seattle. Week 2 against New Orleans. They're going to be wearing white a lot.
I know.
Week
I was
5,
like,
week
holy
6,
cow.
week 8, week 9, week 11. They're barely wearing their red unis this year.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, man, what's going on? I mean, some teams, you wear like the Cowboys. When we go play them in Dallas, we wear the red because their home colors are white. Typically, a lot of teams, at least back in the day, when you're at home, you wear your lighter colors. In football, a lot of these teams do the opposite. They wear the lighter colors when they're away from home.
Right. I like the I like the all black outfit, all black uniform. But freaking why week 18? The season could be either be over. Okay, so here are a couple possibilities for week 18. The Niners are a wild card team, and they've wrapped up their spot. They're not going to play anybody. So who cares about the unis? Or the Niners have another horrible season, plagued by injuries, and they suck. Again, who cares about week 18? Why do we got to wait all the way to week 18? Who's thinking? Look at all those white primary dates. You mean to tell me you couldn't put one up against, I don't know, New York or Arizona in week 11? I don't get it.
Well, where's week 3? Is it? Am I not seeing it?
Week 3 is it? Where is week 3?
They just didn't account for that. It must be a red.
Yeah, where the hell is week 3? Yeah.
Week 3.
I wonder if it's the same person that brought us the
unofficial depth chart.
The unofficial depth chart by some.
Well,
random,
week 3 is at home against the Jaguars, so I would imagine they're going to wear their home reds against the Jaguars. And then October 2nd, we're at the Rams, so that's a primary white. Even though it's weird because I've seen them wear. Last year we wore red.
Yeah.
I bet
know.
you anything, they decided to wear their blues, the Rams, because they were like, no, we don't want a fucking ocean of red and this team wearing red on the field. I bet you that's why they did that. And then we go to the Buccaneers the next week, which is week 5, I think, isn't it? TB, where's TB at?
TB is week 6.
Week 6, sorry, TB, week 6. And then we go home against the Falcons, which is week 7. Where's week 7? It's not even on there.
Not even on there.
So it's probably another red. So that's 2 more weeks of red.
I'm going with what I got to work with here with this list. So
we got what we got.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's fine.
I was trying to support my argument for it being really strange with the dates. So my argument still stands. The fact that they just left dates out tells you what you need to know. It's just dumb. Like, that's too many of white primary, dude. What the heck? It's like the whole season.
Well, and most of those are away games, so
right.
And
the Niners have more away games this year than they do home.
That's fine, sure. But they're against a lot of shitty teams, so I love it.
Yep. That's pretty much that on the uniforms. I don't want to, bang it into the ground. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, because we're going to talk tomorrow on the Cover 3 show. Just overall, what's a takeaway?
Well,
or
it's not tomorrow. It's on Friday.
On Friday, excuse me. We go live on Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 2 p.m. Pacific.
2 p.m. Pacific time. So wake up early, drink your coffee, and get your ass on YouTube. Or, as far as I know, just go sit on X, because 8,000 people watch Dre on X, and you need to come over to YouTube and support his YouTube channel. Come on.
I know on X. I get all the viewers on X. I love it.
Yeah.
We have 202 watching on X right now. Awesome.
So we had the other day when we had the breaking news with Micah Parsons, I think Sterling told me at the time that clip got 75,000 views on TikTok.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. So thank you to everyone. If you have a TikTok who went and freaking watched that clip or whatever, man, it was pretty cool. Nice to support everybody. And just to be, associated with that clip was pretty awesome. No, I just wanted to get your quick thoughts just on Sunday. Any ritual? Do you have a thing you do, thing you eat?
No.
Are you feeling comfortable? Like, I'm pretty comfortable with the Niners.
Oh yeah.
I know our guy Al, who's part of the Empire State of Mind podcast as well, who was unavailable today. He thinks the Niners lose in Seattle to start the season.
I know. I saw his post. I told him I thought he was wrong.
This stadium and these players just don't have that same fear that I used to have coming in against the Legion of Boom. So I think they win. Do I think they blow them out? No, I think it's going to be a close game. I think a lot of games this Niners team is going to be close this year until their defense figures out who they are. But then again, they could surprise us and just play out of their gourd. And so whichever. I'm good with either. I'm good with them blowing teams out or barely squeaking by as long as they win.
Absolutely.
What about you?
I feel really confident going into this game. You got Sam Darnold. He's not a world beater. I think he's another version of like a Jared Goff, but he's like a poor man's Jared Goff. So he has the capability to throw the deep ball. But I think if you put pressure on him, he's going to fold like a lawn chair. And I think having guys like Bryce Huff, Bosa, Micah Williams, I think CJ West is going to have a massive game. I think, personally, I feel like CJ West is going to establish himself in this game as a huge run-stopping threat. And the NFL will be like, holy shit, this guy's really good. I don't see Kenneth Walker having a massive game against us. I think the Seahawks are going to lean primarily on their running game to test these young defensive linemen. Put pressure on guys like Jordan Elliott and Kalia Davis to say, hey, if you're going to be starters, we're going to come right at you. But I don't think it's going to work. I think Winters, Bethune, and Fred Warner, along with Nick Martin, are going to be terrorizing them linebackers. I think one of their weaknesses for the Seahawks is their O-line, and their linebacking core sucks. I think
the
what's his
Seahawks
face?
only really updated one player on their offensive line. Their line was bad last year, so Niners got to make them pay. All I got to say is this, Dre. I don't have too much more to say. Let's not depend on Jake Moody to win the game for us.
No, you don't want it to be like that. You don't. I think at the end of the day, I see the Niners winning this game. This is my preliminary score, not my final score yet. But I'm going to go out and say 31-21 Niners.
I'm going 31-20 Niners.
It's the same thing. I said 31-21. So,
well, they're gonna.
What did they miss the extra point?
No, they're gonna score 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals, and
there you
then
go.
That's it. So, not much of a difference. Anything you got going on this week on the channel? I know we talked about it before the stream, but you can reiterate.
Tomorrow I'm going to be doing I'm watching a simulation of Niners versus Seahawks week 1. I'm debating on if I should do it live or if I should just pre-record it and then just post as a video. I'm not sure. I'm debating on it.
I've seen both, and people get an ass ton of views from it.
Yeah, I might just do it live because it's easier because all you have to do is hit play and you're like, yeah. I was going to do a pre-recorded. Maybe I'll do this for the later weeks, but I'm probably just going to go live tomorrow morning around the same time and do the simulation. And then obviously we'll be live again Friday for Cover 3 with Yumi and Sterling. And then I'll be live again Sunday after the game at about 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. For a post-game live, talk about the Niners with my good friend, Mr. Drew Forder, breaking down what happened in week 1 of the Niners.
You're going to be a busy bee this year, man.
And then Monday, I'm right back with you on Empire State of Mind. The post-game show, that's not something that I will do every week, but I'm trying to do it every single week. Because
I've always wanted to do them because, for anybody who does content and capitalize on the best way to get views.
Yeah. Well, the hard part is, too, is that if you do it after the game, then you're doing it at the same time as Grant Cohen and Larry and all the big guys. So I used to do it late at night with my brother, but now that I'm working mornings, I can't do that anymore. So, but during the week, you'll find me on Mondays here on Empire State of Mind with Aaron. Wednesdays, I'll be doing my own Dre Area Sports Show. We talk about Niners. And then on Fridays, I'll be with Aaron and Sterling for Cover 3. And then Sundays, I'm going to try and do the post-game live.
It's going to be fun, man. I'm definitely hoping to have more members for next week's show. Schedule is what it is, with Dre living on the West Coast. So I'm trying to, I try to accommodate everybody because I want to keep the Empire State of Mind podcast going. I didn't want to quit, and Dre was like, "I'll play on your team." So I'm like, "Okay, cool.
Why not?
Why not? The more, the merrier." But yeah, that's gonna do it. Everybody, thanks for supporting us, mostly on X. For those of you who support Dre on X, thank you very much. Again, jump over to YouTube, Dre Area Sports. He's got a YouTube channel. I'm 49ers First Takes, and thank you as a collective unit for supporting the Empire State of Mind podcast. We will see you guys next Monday on that, and you will see me and Dre in 2 days on the Cover 3 podcast. Take care, everybody. Peace.